Good, happy Sunday morning, October 27, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Sunday morning edition of Politics with Riley King. We have a lot of political news to get to this Sunday, so let's begin. First up, President Trump says ISIS leader killed in a U.S. military raid. Let's listen to this video.
Last night, the United States brought the world's #1 terrorist leader to justice. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. He was the founder and leader of ISIS, the most ruthless and violent terror organization anywhere in the world.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Again, the ISIS leader has died in a U.S. military raid. And now let's take a look at your 2020 New Hampshire candidate tracker for today. We have 2 candidates in New Hampshire today. First candidate, Tom Steyer. He has 2 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, speaking with area residents, local fishery and lobster experts in Rye, New Hampshire, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. His second event, town hall at Nashua Community College in Nashua, New Hampshire at 1 o'clock p.m. And Bill Weld has 1 event today in New Hampshire, Democrat Town Hall at Courtyard by Marriott in Nashua, New Hampshire at 1 o'clock p.m. Those are the 2 candidates that will be in New Hampshire today. Trump's name to be officially filled for first in the nation primary ballot on November 7th. President Donald Trump's name will be filed for placement on the 2020 First in the Nation primary ballot on November 7th. But who will do the filing at the New Hampshire State House remains to be seen. Team Trump New Hampshire co-chair Fred Duca confirmed to WMUR on Saturday morning that the filing will take place on November 7th and that a special guest will be in attendance. Ducat said the guests will be announced in the coming days and said a link will soon be posted where people can be the first to find out who the special guest is. He also urged supporters to come to the State House on November 7th at 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. on November 7th. Democratic candidates Senator Kamala Harris and Cory Booker will also file for the primary ballot on November 7th. Their campaigns told WMUR this week. Former Vice President Joe Biden will file on November 8th, while Mayor Pete Buttigieg will file on October 30th, and Senator Bernie Sanders will file on October 31st. Filing period opens October 30th and will continue on weekdays through November 15th, with the exception of Veterans Day holiday on November 11th. On Friday evening, Democratic presidential candidates Bennett, Buttigieg, Klobuchar, and Steyer speak at a Manchester fundraiser. Let's take a look at that report and how that fundraiser went.
product specialists get paid the same whether you're buying the most expensive new or least expensive pre-owned. So you know there's not going to be any pressure. I'll take this one.
All right.
Democrats call it a countdown to victory. Four presidential candidates at the Puritan Backroom in Manchester. Michael Bennet spoke of building a coalition in Washington.
The least we can do is come together in a strategic way and make sure we're in a position to beat this guy this time, make him a one-term president.
Amy Klobuchar says Democrats know how to win in the Granite State, and she knows how to win in the Midwest states.
To Wisconsin, to Michigan, to Iowa, Ohio, we can win those states. We know we can, and we're going to build a blue wall around those states, and we're going to make Donald Trump pay for it.
Tom Steyer called President Trump a criminal and says it's time to fix a broken government.
We are going to have the largest, broadest triumph in American history for the Democratic Party next year. We are going to sweep these people away across the board.
Pete Buttigieg says New Hampshire has the unique opportunity to make a difference.
Take one last look at that reality show or horror show or whatever kind of show you want to call it, and you get to pick up the remote and change the channel to something better for America.
Outside the event, President Trump supporters held an impeachment protest, calling on Democrats to stop what they say are politically motivated and extreme actions.
Granite Staters don't support the impeachment. We don't support the impeachment inquiry. We stand with our president, and we want them to stop the madness.
Steyer has stops in New London and North Conway on Saturday. Republican challenger Bill Weld will be in the Granite State on Sunday. In Manchester, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Buttigieg hopes to build momentum in latest New Hampshire trip. Democrat presidential candidate stakes out more moderate territory on health care. Let's take a look at this video.
Is centered around women's economic empowerment. But Pete Buttigieg is also making a statement with his crowds.
Well, what we're seeing right now is a terrific sign of momentum. It tells us that our message is landing, and you can tell that the same folks who I might have seen 6 months ago just out of curiosity are now here to make a decision about who to support.
The South Bend mayor is staking out more moderate territory in the 2020 race with his plan for a public insurance option on health care, standing in contrast to progressives calling for Medicare for all.
Certainly there are a lot of questions around the math of it. What I know is that our plan is fully paid for, and our plan has the advantage that it doesn't kick you off of your private plan.
In a one-on-one interview with News 9, the candidate hinted that the more pugnacious Mayor Pete the country saw on the last debate stage could be sticking around.
I'd like to think I'm pretty low-key and easygoing, but I can also get fired up about some of these issues because, our country is on the line, my generation's future is on the line, and I think every American has so much of a stake in what's going on.
I think that there are some candidates that are leading right now that are a little out of touch, and I think Pete is a bit closer to being more in touch with the voters.
Mayor Buttigieg may have a natural rapport with younger voters, but right now his biggest challenge is to win over moderates who might be having second thoughts about who they support in this race.
My only concern is, can he beat Trump? So that's my biggest thing. Otherwise, he would be number one on my list.
In Durham, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Michael Bennet on earlier in the week on Friday actually spoke at Politics and Eggs in Manchester. If you want to see that video of him speaking there, we will have a link for you on the Riley King Network Facebook page after Politics with Riley King. Warner says she'll soon have Medicare for all cost plan. She will release it soon, she is saying. Democratic presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren campaigned Thursday in western part of New Hampshire, and she's emerging as the front runner in the state of New Hampshire. Warren makes appeal to students at Dartmouth College. Let's take a listen to that video.
The student vote will play a crucial role in the first-in-the-nation primary, and the presidential campaign of Elizabeth Warren is well aware. Hanover, home to Dartmouth College, cast more than 4,000 votes in the 2016 Democratic primary.
I understand Dartmouth students are in a lawsuit.
Dartmouth students are involved in a lawsuit, alleging that the state's new voter residency law amounts to an unconstitutional poll tax. As that battle and others unfold in court, out-of-state students on campus say they won't be kept from the ballot box.
I'm pretty confident, and I've been made confident by people in Dartmouth Dens, that we can still exercise our constitutional right to vote.
Senator Warren and nearly every other Democrat running for president have referred to the state's new election laws as acts of voter suppression. Republicans say it's about election integrity, and their stated goal has been to get out-of-state students to cast ballots back home. Either way, in a close election, it could make a big difference.
I think that is the intent, is that the governor of New Hampshire wants to keep students from voting, because I assume he's worried they're not going to be voting for his team. And that really worries me.
The governor's office pushed back against Warren's claim, saying in a statement that every person who votes here is treated the same, and the new laws merely bring New Hampshire in line with the other 49 states. In Hanover, Adam Sexton, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video. And earlier in the week, candidate for Manchester mayor had a debate. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Two candidates for mayor and two very different visions of how to approach the problems facing Manchester.
We certainly acknowledge it, that we have challenges in our city. I acknowledge that, and we are working hard to address them. But if we want to bring businesses and families into our city, it's very important that the leader of our city speaks positively about our city and promotes the good that's here.
And as I said, we've got some amazing, great things happening in our city, but a true leader stands up, faces the obstacles in front of them, makes decisive decisions, and goes boldly forward to improve what's happening here and does not pretend that it's all sunshine and roses when it isn't.
Mayor Joyce Craig and former State Rep Victoria Sullivan clashed repeatedly in their first debate of this municipal election season. There are contrasts on almost every issue, like crime. Sullivan citing an increase from 2 homicides to 5 between 2017 and 2018.
Our homicides are up 150%. When we had the shootout on South Willow Street last year, which is very close to my home, I had people that were dining at Friendly's that had to get their children to their cars while there was gunfire happening very close by. This mayor's response to that when she had a press conference was, "This is just a reminder that we live in a city."
Ms. Sullivan is being misleading. I'm not sure where she got that statistic from, but crime is down by 6%. There has been an uptick in homicides statewide, not just in Manchester, statewide.
On commuter rail, Mayor Craig knocked Sullivan for her lack of support.
I'm glad that you're not at the State House now, because they just did pass the bill to proceed with rail. And I don't appreciate that you have voted against it.
And when I'm talking to people, what we really need, especially with the homeless situation, is we need to revamp our bus schedule.
In Manchester, Adam Sexton, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that's it for this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. I hope you all enjoyed this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everyone. I'll see you back here next Sunday with another edition of Politics with Riley King. And have a great week ahead of you, everybody. Goodbye.